Back, everyone. That little pause that you picked up on the start of the video there, that I only found out the other week is called a millennial pause. Check that out. We have, as a generational group, we have a pause all of our own, because we don't trust video technology to start live. Isn't that interesting? So I'm not on my own this time. Um, this is our first session. Amanda is going to be running us through designing an illustrated explainer video in Canva. Amanda's spoken at other iDTX events in the past, and she's always been fantastic. Not to kind of build the situation up or apply any pressure or anything, but it needs to be at least twice as awesome as last time, obviously. Um, but I'm not going to
Pressure.
waste any more time. I'm going to hand straight over to you, Amanda. I'll jump out of the way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm just going to share my screen. Ooh, okay. I apologize in advance if you hear little puppy barking in the background. I just got coaxed by my husband to get a new puppy and we haven't slept, you know? So her name's Doris. And if you hear barking, excuse her. Okay, so my session will be about how I design illustrated explainer videos in Canva. Um, I hope you guys will get inspired. That is my only goal out of this session, is to spark some sort of inspiration for you to play around in Canva. So what's happening in today's session? I will provide you with a quick introduction of myself because you're probably wondering who is this girl that's talking right now. But I'll give you a quick intro. And then I'll probably take you through, what learning experiences are and what they mean to me, if anything, and how I design learning experiences, what it includes, and what guides me when I'm designing learning solutions. And then I'll talk you through explaining what an explainer video is, how to use it, when to use it, and the key components within an explainer video. I'll then take you through my scripting process and my storyboarding process. This is probably the most crucial part of the session, only because you can't design a nice explainer video with impact without a beautiful script. So I'll take you through the details of how I do that. And then I'll talk you through, how you can find your visual design approach and how you can find your elements in Canva. And then we can take a look at the animate function in Canva. So part of this session, I designed a mock explainer video for the purpose of this session. So you can then see the flow of the scripting through to the end and what the final product can look like. And then I'll take you through some of my favorite transitions to help create a seamless flow of the explainer video. And then we can have some time for Q&As, any questions that you'd like to ask me. You'll note that I've put down a time for each of the session, and it's just a marker for me. I don't know how long it'll go for, but let's go. Let's have fun in today's session. Okay, so quick intro. I'm Amanda Nguyen, and my last name is pronounced Nguyen. Proper Vietnamese though. I am currently a learning experience designer at Canva. And for those that know me in the industry, I also freelance as well under Amanda LXD. And when I am not thinking about work, you'll probably find me outside in the wilderness, adventuring and camping. I'm a huge camper. And we have a nice four-wheel drive with a rooftop tent that my husband and I roam around quite a bit in. And another thing that fills my cup is doing a lot of abstract art. I love painting. I love getting my hands dirty, playing with different mediums. And also, I love eating, specifically donuts, cinnamon donuts that are piping hot. I could smash 10 in a seating if it didn't make me too sick, but I would love to eat a donut every single day if I could. So that's me in a nutshell. So now we'll probably move into learning experiences. And I think over the years, I've figured out a way to define learning experiences that make sense for me, but also to the people that I work with, if I'm working within a company or working with clients. And to me, a learning experience, a really good one that sticks, should have a cadence. And it's a continuous process that has a frequency. And what that really means is, when it comes to learning experiences, a frequency could be either over 2 days, a week, 2 months, 3 months, etc. It's making sure that we provide that frequency for our intended audience to really make it a robust learning experience. So it's not just about one interaction. A learning experience is made up of multiple learning interactions. But what does that really look like? So it could look something like this. So these are just some examples. You guys might create some more amazing learning interactions that I don't have on here, and that's okay. Like, interactions are always expanding, always evolving and changing as we, move through the way we design learning solutions. But here are just some examples of what learning interactions could look like that make up a learning experience. And it could range from your e-learning, your guides, your comms, quizzes, workshops, peer-based coaching, lots and lots of good interactions here. And I think it's about cherry picking a couple of interactions to make up your learning experience so that you can then create a nice solution. But for the purpose of today, we will be just talking about explainer videos. So what is an explainer video? It is designed, a video that's designed to really explain a concept, a product, a service in a simple and engaging way. I absolutely love explainer videos to promote awareness when I'm designing learning solutions for my intended audience. I think it's such a great way for us to use, various combinations of text, images, micro animations, animated GIFs, or if you have your bespoke animations, to weave that in between your explainer videos. And it's really to make complex things simple. I think as learning designers, instructional designers, or learning professionals, it's a great way for us to really chow down that complex topic or content and make that clear and easy for our intended audience to understand. And it's also a great way to use for marketing, education, training, and communication. But for me, I would always use and pair and explain a video with different kinds of learning interactions, and always having a call to action. I think wherever you get a chance to really engage your audience and take some time out of their day to really experience your explainer video, you should really pair that up with a nice call to action just to help guide, what kind of mindset or behavior you're trying to shift as well. So going back to the frequency and the different learning interactions. So when can you really use an explainer video? So this is just an example, but you can have a 2-week frequency and include some Slack comms, some challenges, a scenario-based quiz, a toolkit, and an explainer video. So this will then package up as a nice learning experience. Okay, so now moving into the scripting and storyboarding. So now that you've decided, yep, I'm going to create a nice explainer video, it's the way to go. I would always highly, highly recommend that you start with the scripting before you go into storyboard, before you go into the tool and start designing and creating some amazing slides or snippets and scenes. Really focus on your script. Nail your script, pretty please. It is the way to focus on the storytelling. It is the way that you can ensure that you're connecting with your target audience or your intended audience. So I'll take you through by explain a video, or when I'm designing animations, my little blueprint. And these are like the key steps and key tips that I always focus on when I'm scripting. And the first thing is the subject. What is the title of your subject, or the title or the topic of your story that you're going to share with your audience? And for the purpose of this session, an example and something that I am absolutely obsessed with is retrospectives. So the title for this mock session explainer video will be How Retrospectives Help Teams Navigate Complexity. Who is your target audience and who do you want to reach? It is so important to really define who your intended audience is and who you're targeting. So for the example of the retrospectives, I just put here, the intended audience could be new team formations, project squads, or existing teams within an organization. And then you move into the key messages. What concepts do you want your target audience to remember? And I would highly recommend to keep it up to maybe top three key messages, one or two even. But here's an example of what key messages can look like. So we have retrospectives are a structured opportunity for teams to reflect on their past experiences and outcomes, et cetera, et cetera. I'll let you read that. But these are the top three key messages that would really help guide or be my Northern Star when I'm designing my script. And it would always help me reflect back if I'm, let's say, designing my script and I'm getting a bit lost. I can always go back and refer to my key messages. And then really taking the time to focus on the style and the tone of voice that you're going for. So what is the tone of voice that you're aiming for? Do you have any inspiration or sample visuals that you can use? And for me, for this mock explainer video, we have, a conversational tone of voice, which is friendly, approachable, connects with the viewers on a personal level. And then other example tone of voices that you can use as part of your explainer videos could be, playful tone of voice, and educational, inspirational is also a nice tone of voice as well. And for the theme inspiration that I'm going for is hiking a mountain. So keeping that in the back of my mind as I'm preparing to write my script, I really want the theme to move through with the hiking mountain nature. And then what's the current pain points and assumptions? What does your target audience think, feel, know, and want? I think this is a really great moment to work with your, let's say, your stakeholders or your SMEs, or when you're going out and doing like user research or interviews, to really identify what are their current pain points and what is this explainer video going to try and help solve. Maybe it's just solving the awareness piece only. We're not changing the world with an explainer video, but scratching that surface of awareness, like how can we make sure that we're supporting our intended audience with what they need. So here is an example of some of the current states on why we should do a retrospective video. And it could be around, team members or the intended audience being curious about the concept. Some people might have some bad experiences with retrospectives in the past. So how can we shed some light that this is a positive, way of working in the organization? And overall, if people have a general interest in the topic as well. And then setting the scene. So create context that helps the audience get into the mood of things. What do you need to introduce? So for me, I love working with analogies. I think it's such a great way to paint something complex in a simple way. So for the instance of this retrospective video, I went for starting with the analogy of hiking a mountain. But other ways that you can also set the scene would be starting with the problem, or if you can turn your concept into a story or a scenario as well. And future state is the last segment of the blueprint. After the explainer video, what does your audience think, feel, know, and want? I would assume that the viewers would love retrospectives as much as I do and will forever use them in all interactions forever and ever. That will be the ideal state. But realistically, we can also hopefully see the value for improving projects, team performances, and outcomes. By the end of the video, I would hope that they are motivated and inspired to practice the tools. So the reason why I've bolded and orange highlighted practice the tools is because with your script, it is a moment for you to add in a call to action at the end as well to spark action. So those are the 7 key areas of your scripting tips that you can include in your ways of working in the future if you are designing an explainer video. So here is an example script. I know there's a lot of text on the screen, but I thought I'd write just a rough script so you can see where my mind is going at when it comes to this hiking analogy. But just quickly, retrospectives can be like hiking up a mountain. When hiking up a mountain, it's important to take occasional breaks to rest, check your map, and assess your progress. So I'll stop there because that is the section that I will be animating and illustrating inside Canva video. And these two sentences in total took about 26 seconds. So you can see if I were to complete this script, it'll be about a 2.5-minute-ish video. So less is more. And, I think if we really focus on a script that tells the story through the audio, like when someone closes their eyes, they should be able to visualize, what you're trying to say and share. That would really be fit for purpose. Other than that, make sure that you're using the right illustrations or the right, visuals and text to support and complement your script. So this is how I do a mock-up of a storyboard. It is nothing special. It is literally my way of working and and what works for me and my team. We like simple because it is we want to be able to move faster to get to the developing stage. But for each sentence in a script, I like to break it up a lot. It could be sometimes one sentence could be broken up into 3 parts because I can see visual pauses in between. But I would just break it up into the scenes. I'll then map out, my visual design approach, what that would look like. If I'm getting inspiration that, there's a sunrise with a hiker trying to, climb up the mountain as opening scene, taking steps toward a mountain, zooming into groups of hikers and some key points there. So this helps guide the way that I design the explainer video when I get into the tools. You can also expand on this storyboard template. I know it's a very simple basic table, but you can, for review purposes, you can also add in another column to add in a screenshot of your, let's say, your scene that you're developing for your stakeholders and SMEs to review as well. I used to do that, and then people just went into, the video and just made edits and comments in there. So that was probably an easier way. But look, everyone works differently. Work how you'd like to work. It's all okay. So you can always customize the way that you do the storyboarding as well. And now moving into the visual elements. I can't see the comments, and I apologize if I'm speaking really, really quickly. I'll try and talk at a nice pace. Visual elements. I think the thing about Canva and inside the elements tab is there's a lot going on in terms of amazing resources, amazing illustrations of like everything. There is everything under the sun. It really comes down to you as the designer to really find the keywords and elements that you want to type and find. But for me, what helps me when I'm designing an explainer video in Canva is really categorizing the elements that I want to find. So for example, it will be characters for the first one. I would type in a hiker, and then one illustration will come up. The great thing about Canva is there's magic recommendations, or I think there's like a recommended tab when you select a certain suite or set of illustrations. And that's such a great way for you to find other illustrations that are the same in style. So you can see the style here is flat illustrations with just like some outlines as well. So nice and simple there. And then once I get the characters out of the way, I start thinking about like the objects that would support the characters. I know all of the colors are all mixed and jumbled here, but we'll talk about the theming afterwards. But for here, I would take a step back and think about, okay, what are my visual elements that I need in terms of objects to support my characters in the scene? It could be for background, it could be for, the first layer of the visual illustration as well. So identifying objects that I need, and usually I would list the objects or the kind of characters that I need in the visual design approach in the storyboard. So that really helps my thinking. And then for the grand scenes, I just create another bucket of nature. So here we have like the mountains, the flowers, the little steps and all that stuff. Once I figure out all of my elements, I then brand it to a theme in color. So this is the color palette that I'm going for in my explainer video. So you can see, it's just literally 3 colors, a few colors that could make up a nice suite of visual elements for your explainer video, and consistency is key. Visual design consistency is so important. So I highly encourage you to find illustrations or visuals inside Canva that are quite similar. Now, side note, if you use Adobe Illustrator or any other tools and you've created your own suite of characters and objects and stuff like that, the great thing about Canva is that you can upload it as an SVG. So just export whatever illustration that you've designed, or if you've downloaded it from an illustration library elsewhere, just download it as an SVG and upload it as an SVG. This just helps you, recolor all of your illustrations to align to your theme in your brand as well. So now we're going to head into the little mock-up of the explainer video that I did for the first 2 sentences of the script. But let's take a look. How retrospectives help teams navigate complexity. Retrospectives can be like hiking up a mountain. Whoop. When hiking up a mountain, it's important to take occasional breaks to rest, check your map, and assess your progress. Let's dissect the video. So there is no audio. I didn't put in audio. I didn't put in voiceover sound effects or background music. I just really wanted to focus on the animations of the different objects and the elements, and also the transitions in between. But I'll play it again just one more time because I feel like it just went too quickly. But I really want you to focus on all of the elements that I used, and then I'll break it down afterwards. Awesome. Okay. Right, so let's dissect the video. When you are designing your slides, I would highly recommend you design and add in all your objects first before you break it out and into all of the different animation elements that you're going to add in. But for the purple dots that you can see on the screen, all I used was Rise, which is a very basic animation element, but I think it works seamlessly. I love how clean it is, the micro animations that it creates, and you can keep some elements static. So for example, if you can see all of like the little bushes in the background and that little ground layer, that's static. I didn't animate that. I just left it as is because I felt like, having just the trees animate and the clouds move and just the text animation of how retrospectives help teams navigate complexity, I thought that worked really nicely. And for the clouds, one of my favorite basic animation button is drift, drifting in different directions. So I had one cloud drift to the right, one cloud drift to the left, and then right again. And then you can reduce the intensity to just make it a really long drag across the scene, and it just elevates that page a little bit more. And then for how retrospectives help teams navigate complexity, I just use block, which is pretty cool. It's just a nice like washover of the text with a orange color as well to tie in with the branding. So for this page scene, you can see the nice little spark in the background and the little speech bubbles dragging outwards. I'll show you how I did that. But for the burst, all you had to do was go into Element, type in burst, and there are pre-designed white bursts that you can just lay behind your graphics as well. So it's not here, it's actually the third little box, but I didn't take a clean screen grab. But type in, keywords like burst, splash. What else was there that I usually use? Like sparks as well. And the team of Canva, they've created these nice animated GIFs that have a clear background. So it's transparent, so you can also lay it in wherever you like as well. So I thought that was a really nice trick that I tend to use. You can, lay it just right behind any of your illustrations or icons that you may have. And oh no, I didn't add it in. That's okay. I'll explain it to you anyway. The speech bubbles, where it was dragging on the side, I just use drift again as another animation button for it to move left and right as well. And for this one, just a clean pop and baseline animation upwards. I'll show you what I did. So for the clocks and the white circle in the back, I had that as pop. And then, oh no, whoops. And then for the girl, I cropped her out, and then that was a baseline as well. So really cool combinations of element animations that you can use when you're creating your explainer videos. But here are my absolute favorites. I love using drift. Baseline is great. Rise is the simple one. Breathe is really awesome as well. Let's say you have a sky with let's say like a sun, and you want to create a pulsing in the background. I would use breathe as an animate effect, and it will have this constant slow glow. And then for you to just mimic that constant glow, you can create 2 or 3 different pages just down at the bottom here, duplicate it, and just play around with the intensity of the glow. And then I'll talk about transitions, which also adds another element of seamlessness to it. So as you can see, the retrospective icon glide backwards. If you are a fan of Microsoft PowerPoint like I am, they have the similar transition as well, which is the match and move. And I use it for everything. It just makes, if you're designing a explainer video with like an infographic look and feel, you can create like a map with objects on it and just get it to scale in certain sections and areas. It's a very, very, very powerful transition to use, and I would highly recommend you play around with match and move a bit more. Maybe plan the way that you're designing, certain objects for focus. For example, down at the bottom here next to the arrow, there's the mountains. So you can see on the 3rd scene, there's the smaller mountains that I designed. And then on the 4th scene, there's a large mountain. If in between, if I had the match and move, it would morph nicely into that big mountain. So it's a very, very powerful transition animation that you can use as well. And then, oh yeah. So for this swipe up, as you can see, the hikers are hiking, and then they're walking on a navy blue floor, and it just glides up. Your very simple slide transition. So this works really well if you're creating like different environments and scenes that you want to merge in between. Really great way to create that like parallax experience. But I use the slide transition quite a bit as well. And I think it just switches the scenes up really nicely if you're wanting to connect some of the objects from the previous scene to the new scene. I would highly recommend you use the slide function as well. And also play around with the durations. I think some people tend to forget the duration exists on the left-hand side here, but it's actually quite nice to play around with the transition of the duration and the timing in the seconds to see how it moves in between the screens in the scenes as well. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about is this nice move of transition. So you can see you don't have to design everything in a animation element. You can use the transition in between the scenes as well, and it could help create really nice bespoke experiences like this. But for this one, it is just flow. Flow is another of one of my favorite transitions that I use as well. Play around with the durations. And the great thing about flow is that you can have different directions. You can have it to the left, you can have it to the right, you can have it upwards and down. I sometimes like to create things that drop down the screen. So you can see here, it's just dropping down and allowing the next scene to fall on top. So that's quite nice and a nice example to use as well. What else? Oh yes, I flew through that. 15 minutes of Q&A, team. So that's pretty much it. I hope I inspired you to start playing around more in Canva. I understand that there are so many tools out there that you can use, and I think this is such a great way to really explore the parameters of certain tools and just be creative and you can even use your own assets and upload your own assets as well to have a fun creation of an explainer video. But that's it in a nutshell. How did I go?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. That was really interesting. We do have, if you've got any more questions, there is time. Get them into the Q&A now. We do already have one in there, though. Mackenzie has asked, can you crop your images to fit in shapes directly in Canva?
Say that again, sorry. Can you crop?
Can you crop your images to fit in shapes directly in Canva?
Yeah, you can. I am going to show you how to do that. So the cool thing about Canva, and something that I always use, is frames. And I want to show you a hack with frames as well. Okay. So this is a frame. When you have a image, it could be preferably a PNG or a JPEG, you're able to then drag it into the frame itself. But if you have an SVG like this, it won't crop to the frame. So what I would do is open up a new Canva doc, save your SVG as a PNG, and then you'll be able to crop and frame it in. So for example, let me just open the original. Nope, this one. So for this element here, it was an SVG, and then I just created a export image of it to a PNG, and then it allowed me to crop it, because if not, it wouldn't allow me. Yeah, so that's something that I learned the hard way because I didn't know how to use the frames, but it's very powerful. Like if you could start using frames a bit more to crop and to cut out, certain images that you have, it'll be pretty schmick, I think.
Fantastic. The questions are flooding in now.
Okay.
Nicole's asked, what is the ideal time duration for an explainer video?
Great question, Nicole. For me, less is more. Let's say you have a 5-minute explainer video that you've identified in the script that, holy crap, it's going to take 5 minutes. I would break that up to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute max. Like the scene that I just designed for you guys to see, like that was already 26 seconds. I probably would maybe stretch it out to a minute, and then I'll do a part 2, a part 3 to make it more bite-sized. by like anything more than like a minute and a half is very long. You're probably gonna have to create something really super engaging with like sound effects, background music to really keep that engagement going. If it's just a lot of text or images and visuals on the screen, like it's going to one, distract the audience, and two, it's going to be a bit hard for them to continue on paying attention to the video. So rule of thumb, like 90 seconds is great. Like I think 90, that's just my personal opinion, and I know other professional motion graphic designers and video developers out there may differ in their mindset, but bite-sized learning, micro learning, keep it short and sweet. And if it's something that you're trying to explain in terms of a long concept, like break that out over bite-sized videos, make it a series. Yeah, that's how I would do it.
We've got a couple of similar questions
Yeah,
around Canva itself.
yeah.
So first of all, Andreas has asked, is everything created in Canva, including the main presentation and the menu you
Yes.
created?
Yes, everything is created in Canva. So you can see my deck. It is all Canva. Yeah, Canva. Literally everything is Canva. Some of the illustrations are my own personal SVGs that I used in the past. But other than that, majority of like these illustrations here, they're from the Elements page. And if you're really wanting to focus on design consistency, when you're selecting elements, you can scroll down all the way to the bottom and there's collections that you can use. So if you're really worried that, oh my gosh, I can't find a suite or a set of illustrations that are similar, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom and there's some amazing collections that you can use and cherry pick as well.
Awesome. On that note, are you using free or paid Canva? Canva Pro, I guess, is the name.
Yeah, so this is Canva Pro. This is my own personal account. It depends on how you want to use Canva. And I think the only way that you could maybe upload your own personal stuff for SVGs, you might need the Pro account. Yeah.
Awesome. And
Mm.
what export options do you have when the video is complete?
Ooh, let me check. I'll show you right now. We have, I know we got download, MP4. That's pretty much it. MP4, and you can go, ooh, guys, you could go 4K. Ha ha. 4K, and I think with the little crown here, I think that's pro account. I think so. But yeah.
In
HD.
fairness, all that learning material, you've got to have it in 4K for all those 4K monitors your learners are using. You know, that's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
brilliant. And just having a look to see if there are any more questions. Oh, we do have one here in the chat, actually.
Yeah.
Is transition only available on slides? Haven't seen it when making carousels, only animations.
Oh, yeah. I think it's just in the videos, to be honest, because when you open up a new file, so if you go to, let's say, video, the functionalities of video will be different to your functionalities in presentation, I think. No. Oh my gosh, this is so
Oh,
bad. I work for Canva and I keep on forgetting the tool. 1 second. I will show you guys. I'm pretty sure you can. Oh, no, yeah, you can do transitions in presentations as well. Yes, it will be transferable for presentations and in video. Learn something new.
fantastic. Look at that. Learning all round.
Oh,
Right. Well, that is everything currently in the chat and the Q&A.
amazing.
So all that remains, I guess, is to say thank you so much for giving your time presenting today,
That is all
and
okay.
sharing all of this with everyone once again. Thank you to everyone as well. We were struggling to figure out how many of you there were, because Hopin hid away the numbers in a different place than last year. But I can confirm, Amanda, 135 people.
Oh, that's
Look at
amazing.
that. So thank
Good.
you all for turning up. What, at least for me, is still early in the morning. It's only 10:30. Or well, it's 20 to 11, but you know, pretty much 10:30. That's still very early in the day, um, at least in my books. Well, the next session. Let me just get my screen up. starts at 11 a.m. GMT with Anna, and we're looking at an e-learning course crash test. So do join us for that. The recording of this session, along with all of the Q&A, will be available later this evening on YouTube, and please do share it widely, because I think that was such a fantastic session, really practical, and lots that we can all go and use straight away.
Yay!
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
And
Thank you
if
so
people want to
much.
get in touch with you, Amanda, where can they
Yes,
find you?
find me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. The
Just
link
LinkedIn
is
me.
on Amanda's speaker profile here on the platform. If not, she's not difficult to find. And obviously share all your amazing Canva creations all
Oh,
over
yes,
social
I want to
media so
see
that we
it.
can be
Please. I'd
impressed.
love to see it. Yay. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it.